o'clock and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking.
All right.
That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy?
Days. Well,
we've got sit-down comedy.
Not really.
It's time for coffee with the dog.
It's always time
make me laugh.
for coffee with the dog. You could have coffee with the dog at, I don't know, 10:17 p.m. You could have coffee with the dog at 2:13 a.m. You could have coffee with the dog at 4:36 a.m. or p.m. You could have the dog anytime. But that doesn't mean it's live. It's never live. I'm not even live right now. I'm AI. I'm just A, really. I'm not I. I'm just A. I'm artificial. Good morning, folks. It's Tuesday, the second ugliest day of the week. And I'm still here. It is January 30th, 2024. We have probably the worst show we're ever going to do here, or I'll ever do here, because I have had no sleep. I made it to New York City and I made it home. That's all I can say about that. That's all I will say about that. No, I'll probably say more about that. Anyway, tonight is the big premiere of Lord and His Lady, and it looks like Willie had his head in his hands thinking he's probably going to run away again. If you don't recall, last week, Sir Willie ran away. He chickened out. He ran away. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. So Willie chickened out. Anyway, we don't think he's going to chicken out tonight, but he might. There's always a possibility Sir Willie will chicken out and run away. And if he does, we'll let GD do it with his wife. No, he won't do that. Anyway, so I did make it into Brooklyn and then Manhattan yesterday. I took the Brooklyn Bridge for the first time. I think the first time in my life. There's lots of bridges going from Long Island to New York and tunnels. But I really think this was the first time I've ever been on the Brooklyn Bridge. I like it. Quaint little bridge. It strikes me that there are cops on the walkways, because if you don't know the Brooklyn Bridge, drive across the Brooklyn Bridge, but you can also walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. I think it began as a walking bridge and horse-drawn carriage bridge or whatever. But now it's both. You can drive across, or there's a little walkway. And I saw, because I will get into the mistake I made, but I saw cops on the walkways, and they seem to think that their job. Now, I hope I do get somebody in trouble for this, actually, because they're on the payroll. They think their job is to videotape tourists. All I saw them doing was taking cell phones and taping people walking across the bridge for them, and doing like they were trying to be cinematic. Like I saw one cop actually doing like a wide pan around to the couple smiling. Like, is that what you're getting paid to do? Or like there could be a terrorist planting a bomb and you're there playing on the public dime. So maybe I do hope some people get in trouble for that. But here's what happened. I did not take the Brooklyn Bridge going into Manhattan. I took the Williamsburg Bridge. Why? I'm looking for roads I know, and I'm very familiar with the Williamsburg Bridge. And then drove down through Manhattan, nightmare, through Manhattan to get to Chambers Street. I was supposed to make a right at Chambers Street, but I made a left, which took me back on the Brooklyn Bridge and back over to Brooklyn, which meant I had to do a U-turn and get back on the bridge and go back. And then there was a traffic jam. A truck broke down on the Brooklyn Bridge, and I was stuck there. And it's just like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare day. And for the most part, the recording session went well. The IT job went extremely well. But the drive to and from Manhattan and in Manhattan, I don't wish that on anybody. It's hell. I don't know how people survive that. If I had to do that every day, I would not have lasted till 2 days old. I would have killed myself at 1 day old. Well, of course, it's hard to have a driver's license when you're 1 day old, I suppose. But I was a very gifted driver at a young age. Maybe I could have faked it, and plus I had the mustache, so I could have fooled them at the DMV. You can tell I haven't had any sleep. Anyway, we're gonna have a shitty show today. It's not because our guest is not a good person, or is a good author, or somebody you'd want to talk to. It's because I am totally shot. The good news is the sex lady, Dr. Eliana Wolf, will be back on Friday. She was almost going to come back on Thursday, but Ron Kane took her spot while I was out. So she'll be back Friday. Listen, we can't get enough sex talk here. I need more sex researchers and people like that, because I just took one little clip last night. I was exhausted when I got in. I just took one little clip and posted it up, and it did pretty well. And I think people, just for clickbait and helping to get the channel jump started again. Dirty talk. Dirty talk is what people want. It's what they need. It's what they have to have. Mentioned Willie tonight is the big premiere of A Lord and His Lady. One thing that will make Willie very happy, and I'm not sure why, this tickles his fancy. I'm an idiot. Elon Musk is claiming that the first human has gotten a Neuralink chip put in his brain. And I'm thinking this guy was an idiot in the first place. I don't care what it does. You're letting people, stick things in your brain. Yeah, let's put a little implant in your brain, monitor what's going on. Oh, yeah, well, we're going to hook you up to a computer and you're going to be able to do all these magnificent things. You know what, Elon? Why don't you go first? That's what the thought that comes to my mind. You want to experiment on other people. Listen, this is your idea. The Wright brothers did not say, hey, you want to fly? Go ahead. Usually, no, maybe not always. If you're going to experiment like that, you volunteer to go yourself first. Elon's not doing that. That would raise a major red flag. I don't know who this guy is. I have not read the full story yet. Actually, I don't think they disclose his name in the story. But Elon is claiming that a guy's got a neurochip in his brain, and we'll see what happens to him now. But listen, you can never have an impure thought again. You're going to get outed. You know what? You want somebody looking in your brain? And besides that, you can never really do anything. It's like always having a lie detector hooked up to you at 24/7. Like that's, I'm sure there are movies, Liar, Liar, all that kind of stuff where you're just outing yourself. But also, your most private thoughts I am concerned when the dispensary remembers who I am and knows what I want and like. Forget about that. We have every fucking thought you've ever had on a floppy disk. Well, not a floppy disk, a chip, an SD card, something like that. Something to be concerned about. I know I'm rambling here. I'm going to just bring in, speaking of neurochips and chips and chips and here's the chips and dips guys. Good morning, fellas.
Wow.
You're muted. You're muted.
Come on, GD. We expect better from you.
You got no sound. You have no sound.
Yeah, we don't hear anything.
Nope, you're soundless.
He can hear us, though. It sounds like he can hear us.
Yep. Now you just muted yourself.
Yeah, you muted yourself.
Nope. Look at him. Look at him. He's like an amateur. He's never done it before. You know what? He needs a Neuralink so that we can just hear his thoughts rather than he has to speak. That would be good.
I find it funny that you don't like good customer service at the dispensary. That makes me feel all warm inside if they know what I want already.
No. I'm running for Congress. You forget this. We don't want people going on. Oh, what is the order at the dispensary? You don't want, because that's an invasion of privacy. Listen, it started as a medical thing. It's recreational, but still, there are laws against sharing your medical records and stuff like that with people. It's an invasion of privacy, and I don't want any clerk who just happens to work there to know when I do and what I do.
But I mean, how is that different than when you go to the bar and the bartender knows your drink when you leave?
You got reverb on the way on your thing, by the way. And not that I mind it. It doesn't sound bad. It sounds like you're almost like Harry Harrison professional radio. GD's just rapping away there, but nobody hears him. No, you have no microphone. You have no audio.
We're not lip readers, man.
Yeah. Get your Neuralink. Get out and come back and do whatever you got to do. All right, but okay. So I know I do like the fact that you can have the option to save your previous orders so that they know. But to just be able to say, "Oh, Matt Napo, you like this, that, and the other thing," it's like, get out of my shit, kid.
No, dude, my wife was like that, dude. My wife was on such a good basis with the dispensary people in New Mexico that like they'd tell her if the stuff she liked was having like a deal or whatever. Because we're like, the Skywalker trend is really good. We like that a lot. And so whenever they were having a deal on their Skywalker, they always let her know.
Hello, GD. No, dude. No, dude. All right. Why don't you try your phone?
There is one word there that I am understanding, but I don't think we should say it. We're trying.
Is it fuck? No,
it is fuck. It was.
Oh,
it was.
Well, that's not a bad word.
The fuck word.
The Neuralink stuff. You still gung ho about the Neuralink stuff.
I mean, I'll never get it, but I like it. It's okay. I think that it's exciting stuff that's happening, but me personally, I would never want. And I'm like you. I would never want somebody.
Do you agree that Musk should have tried it on himself before just asking?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because I saw him in a video. He was asked that if he was going to try, if he was going to get a Neuralink installed, and he said he giggled just a little bit, and he said, "Let's see how some of the tests go." That's like,
that's an indication that he's got some nefarious shit going on in the back of his mind. Like he knows exactly what I was talking about. Like,
yeah, I've seen him get asked that question. He was like, "Let's see how some of the trials go."
You don't want a database of every thought you've ever had.
Well, especially Elon Musk, I'm sure, because he's got $1 billion ideas. You don't want that just floating out there.
Speaking of $1 billion ideas,
is it? What about now?
You have sound. You have sound.
Okay, but yeah, it's so weird because
no, you sound a little like Jordan Peterson, though. You sound like, oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. I'm Jordan Peterson.
Cry.
I'm Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
I'm Jordan. Lay on the couch. Clean your room. I'm sorry. You don't really sound like that. I'm just. I
didn't think I did. I didn't think I did.
Wait,
I don't
Jordan?
have that in me.
Is that Jordan?
I don't have that in me. Good morning. Is your Sunday morning as empty as my cup? Fill it up with the Dr. Reverend Jelly Roll and the Church of Last Resort. Sundays live.
Yeah.
Now,
9 a.m.
Are you going to watch The Lord and His Lady tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on MindDog TV?
Unfortunately, he scheduled it while I'm on stage. I'm on stage Tuesday nights at 9.
Who does a show on Tuesday night?
I'm there every Tuesday night.
I get that. Now, do you have a regular crowd that comes there, like on Tuesday night? People come out for comedy on Tuesday night?
Every Tuesday except for last Tuesday. And last Tuesday was the first Tuesday back after the Christmas holidays. So I don't know if people didn't know that we were back or if they knew we were back, and that's why no one showed up. No, did we just have one person? No, we had one person. We had one person in the audience last week.
Now, if you got a Neuralink, you think you would be able to say day?
First of all, is the Neuralink operational or is it just sitting there?
Oh, Willie doesn't know what I'm talking about, but listen closely and you'll hear he says Tuesday, not Tuesday. Tuesday. He can't say day. He can't. Watch.
No,
Test him.
you
Try
say
say day.
donkey.
Try say day.
I can only sing it. I can't say it.
What do I say? What do I say, Willie?
Day-o. See,
You
if
say
I
donkey.
wouldn't,
Instead of
I
Oh,
can't
donkey.
go Dio, Dio. See, I have to say day. I can sing day-o, but I can't say day.
Willie's right. I do
sing
say
day.
donkey, but I can say donkey, but I choose to say donkey. So
Yeah.
it's a little different.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I do have one news thing for you, if you would like.
No,
but it's kind of a
no.
weird one. It's just one thing, but it's weird and it might be a little long.
You want to
I
do it
don't know if you
now?
want to do it.
You want?
Whenever you want to do it.
I like weirdness. Listen, weirdness makes for good reels if I
Well,
can
'cause
remember.
you know I spent last week in Minnesota.
Right.
So this is some Minnesota.
I knew it was
related
something
news.
with an M. I wasn't sure Minnesota, Michigan. I knew it was somewhere over there where I never want to be. I with an M.
Yeah.
It might have been Mishkawaka.
And guess what? I was near a lake. Imagine that in the state of Minnesota. I was
Right.
near a lake.
Yeah. The land of lakes. No,
That's
is that
why
the
they're
land of
called
lakes?
Yeah. It's land of
No,
10,000.
you're thinking of butter. You're thinking of butter.
I was thinking of Wisconsin. I think no, that's the land of cheese.
No,
Yeah.
Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so New York. Well, not really 10,000. We have Finger Lakes.
And Maine has a lot of lakes.
Yeah. And California has a lot of people named Lake. That's true.
Well, that's what the Lakers are. It makes sense.
Oh, and the Lakers. Yes.
Actually, the Lakers started in Minnesota. Did you know that?
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes.
Everybody knows that except for the people from Utah.
Well, anybody
Their team, the
who
Jazz.
remembers the 1950s and 60s, I guess, would remember that. But okay, so wait, if you got weird news, I gotta hit the B so I remember where to find it. You ready to go with your weird news?
I'm ready to go.
I'm not going to play the intro. I'm just going to click the B. Okay, you're free to go.
All right. So the Minnesota DOT has ended their snowplow naming contest of 2023-24. They have not announced the winners yet, but I want to give you a list of some of the possible names. They're going to name 8 of their snowplows. They're going to receive names. And here's a list of them.
Blitzer Donner. Which one?
What?
I was going to go through like the reindeer names, but go ahead.
Yeah. A plow named Sue, Aaron Burr, Alice Scooper, Barbie's Dream Plow. That'd be a nice one. I hope a blonde drives that one. Beauty and the Blade, Because I Said Snow, Below Zero Hero, Best in Snow. That's for you dog lovers out there. Beyond Sleigh, which is I think that's a nice one. Blizzard Buster, Blizzard Wizard, Can't Snow Me Down, Clark W. Blizzwald, Dashing Through the Snow, Dolly Plowton, Don't Flurry, Be Happy, Every Day I'm Shuffling. I like the Every Day I'm Shuffling one. That's a good one. Fast and Furious, Flake Superior, Flake It Off, a little T Swifty for you. Flake it off. Flake it up. All right, anyway. Frosty the Snowplow, Highway Hercules, I think is a strong front runner in my opinion. I Came, I Thaw, I Conquer. Just Scraping By, that's probably that's a good one for a snowplow. Especially, have you heard, man, these snowplows are so loud. Like when there's actual snow, it's not so bad, but when it starts to thaw and it gets, man, dude, they're so loud when they go by.
More? There's
Minnesota,
more?
I mean, there's a lot of them. How many? I think that.
I think we got the gist. People are really got nothing better to do than fucking come up with.
It sounds like,
I think there's. The
sounds
last
like
one
they
on
should
the
put a
list.
limit. Okay.
The last one on the list is "You're Killing Me, Squalls."
All right. Now
it sounds to me like they should have put a limit on how many characters the name could have.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, they're going to have to. If they're going to put them on the side of the snowplow, That's one thing, and
Yeah,
also
like
it was
they
just
paint it on the plow. Yeah.
I'd like to suggest
yeah,
4 score and 7 years ago, our fathers set forth.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it
I
could be a
think
It
lot.
should
the
limit. It
longest
should limit it
one,
to.
All
the
right.
longest one I think is Snow White and the Seven Drifts is
That-
the longest
That's still too
made
long.
one. It
See,
is really long.
what my biggest takeaway from this is people think they're clever and they're not.
Right.
The other thing
Well,
is
obviously they have tax money. Obviously they have taxpayer money to use for things other than helping people.
the other the other part of this is that I know people think I live in a metropolitan area. I would not know a snowplow what a snowplow sounds like. Where I live, we get plowed like 3 weeks after the snow is melted. If that happens, they might drive through the neighborhood and say, "Yeah, there's no snow here." Rural areas like mine are neglected, so I wouldn't know a snowplow. We don't see snowplows; they don't exist. Most
And
of them.
we have snow plows, but our driveway is long enough that they stop long before they get to my house, and so I don't hear them. I just know that they've been there because my mailbox has been blocked in by snow. That's how I know. The street is clear, but my mailbox is covered. That's how I
Right.
know
You
they've been
know,
here.
Yeah.
Danica's uncle, he about lost his shit one day when we first got all this snow or whatever. And he had just snow blowed the driveway. And like
Snowblowed.
maybe 10 minutes after he got done snow blowing, here come the plow. And they live on a country road. And they actually maintain these country roads pretty all right, honestly. But the snowplow came by and just reburied his the end of his fucking driveway. So he had to gear up and get out back out there.
If I may, a suggestion here: you don't need to put snow in it. You could just say he just blowed the driveway. He blew the driveway. He blew the driveway. How's that? He
I mean,
he
I
blew he blew the driveway. Which okay.
I
Uh,
mean that
have
could
I
mean
have a
maybe there was a bunch of people parked in the driveway and
yeah,
was
he
saying that he
blew
blew
it's
everybody in the driveway. I don't know.
garage sale or
I
something.
have a non-sexual question, if that's okay. We can just it
I don't know if I'll
involves
be able to
children, so
answer
it's
it though.
non-sexual. It involves children. Okay. When myself and my first wife broke up, I was no longer my stepdaughter's stepfather
You know, you still
because
are.
I couldn't adapt her. Once the divorce was final, I didn't have any. I never could adopt her. I was not allowed. We didn't. I didn't adopt her. So, but I raised her. So, what was she after that? How do I call
No,
her? What do I call?
she's still your stepdaughter as long there's no legal thing there. As long as you feel that connection or have some kind of you're allowed to call her stepdaughter. You call it that. You know,
Okay, but what if we're fucking? No, I'm just teasing. No, no, no.
Wow.
That's no, no.
Wow.
then you get
From
yourself an
you,
account.
GD.
You get yourself
Wow.
a content creator account on like
Yeah, on Pornhub,
yeah, bangmykid.com or something.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Dude,
god.
there's so much of that. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but there's been changes to like how you can access those sites and stuff like that, like Pornhub and Brazers and all of that. You used to be able to just um like type in the URL and go right to the page without any kind of checks or whatever. But they
Yeah.
passed a law making it to where you couldn't do that. So now you have to only plows. Nice, nice. That would have been great. That would have been great.
What do you have to do?
That was not on the list of like
Wait, what do you
47 names. That was not on
I'm
the list.
sorry, I was laughing at Only Plows. What do you have to do to get on these porn sites now?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't check, but I know that
Oh.
there's an extra step now. That's why I was like, well, I guess I'm not jerking off right now.
Well, Brendan Walsh 3 years ago suggested that all you have to do is put in a credit card. We're not going to charge you, but we need to see that you're old enough to have a credit card.
yeah,
So
see, I
that
don't like
you're
Yeah,
not.
1 penny, or charge 1 penny and get it refunded, or $1. Like
Well, yeah,
some
but see,
sites
the
do.
problem is I don't trust sites like that. You know what I mean? Because like, there's been other sites that I did
Do you
use in
have
that way,
Venmo?
and then like they take they end up what they do is they'll leak your account. Like they'll just they'll charge you 99 cents here and 99 cents there, and that shit adds up when they do it fucking 40, 50 fucking times.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Actually, it adds up if they do it twice. It just adds up to like $1.98, and then the third time it adds up to $2.97, and then the fourth time it adds up to $3.96. So it doesn't just add up at 50. It adds up every single time. But how did the bass gig go?
Here's the thing.
That's not that's.
Did you have to
okay.
write the music like you were worried about?
Yeah. The part I was supposed to be trying to play was so fucking hard. It was a really up tempo thing, and it goes from, there's a part where it goes from slapping and popping to really fast 3-finger work, really fast
wow,
triplets,
okay.
and then back to slapping and popping without like any hesitation there. And I was like, I can't do this, so I simplified it. I was just playing. The drummer, who was an integral part of this thing, he's like, I love the way you simplified it. That's the way Vinny should have done it. It's like it gives room for the vocals and the saxophone. That's a better way to do it. And he was thinking that I was doing that to improve the song, when I was just doing it because I couldn't. There was no way I could. I did not have the chops for that. So
Well, it worked out in your favor. That's
he was kind of talking me up like he's a hero, and basically I was like feeling like I was a zero. But as long as I got away with it, got the paycheck.
I meant to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I'm definitely a simplified type of guy. I mean, that's what I play. I like to give room for everybody. I mean, bass should not be the main instrument. If you notice the bass, go through all this philosophical stuff. If you notice the bass is like an umpire in a game, it's not doing his job. You should never notice the bass. So I got through it.
I'm pleasantly pleased for you.
I can't say that I wasn't nervous and difficult. Just feeling like I'm failing, and I was sweating at one point, even though the air conditioning was on in the place. Because I thought my job there was to keep the 4-piece together, just to get the rhythm track down, and then they would get rid of the bass part and have the triple scale guy come in and overdub the right part when he was available, or whatever that was. But no, they said they were going to keep my part, so I'm good with that.
You see, I've been in the studio over my head and have been rescued by just the simplest thing, like maybe we're just doing it too fast. Maybe we need to slow that down. And I'm like, yeah, I think you should slow that down a tad.
Yeah. I glad that they didn't look at the tabs that I wrote out for myself, tablature, because I wrote out, don't even fucking try that.
You wrote it on the paper.
Yeah. Well, I had to remind myself that was real, because I was listening to it and I was like, no, and I figured out what it was, but it's like, there's no way I will ever get through a take to have to keep saying stop and restarting and all that stuff. And I was just like, forget it. Don't even try it. Don't even try. Just go for this, what you can do. And they liked it. So
that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. Then the next part of it was, getting through Lower Manhattan. It's a fucking, I don't know how you guys say you want to come to New York. I would never. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, going to New York.
I don't like coming to New York, but
in New York.
No, I don't like coming to New York. But there's some things. There's some, like, if there's a billboard, even if it's just like on a subway or something, I would like my picture taken next to the billboard. Okay, yep. It's not that I want to come to New York, but I have like a collection of things like that, and I would like the collection to be complete.
I think Friday is going up. I have to check. Because I still owe them like $3,000, so I haven't checked. I have to check this week. I have to make a phone call. I have lots of business phone calls that I have to do. The business is part of this thing. Is going down the sewer. I've been neglectful for like 6 weeks since I got sick. and everything is fucking falling apart here. So I have to kick myself in the ass. Today is not the day to do it. Tomorrow is the day to do it because I have a corporate gig today, and then I have a nursing home gig, uh, which is not nearly as stressful as yesterday was. But I have to get through today, and I'll be honest with you, man. I'm too old. Last night I got home. I was a broken man. I needed to take a warm bath just to get to get normal.
Yeah.
I'm old.
I thought you didn't agree with men taking baths.
Yeah.
So the thing you did yesterday on the bass, was that just one track that you worked on, and is it going to be on part of a compilation or a CD or
Uh,
movie, or what's it for?
It's for a soundtrack for a movie. It's an original song. It's a sync licensing thing, and
Okay.
they've already got the deal on it based on the demo, but they wanted a professional recording of it, so they had to go to a professional studio and have a real guy do it. I don't know the name of the movie. I'll find out where it's going to be released, and probably at the end of the day, they'll probably use like 30 seconds of the tune somewhere under like a transitioning part in the movie.
Right.
Under train tracks or something, and you'll never hear, won't even hear the bass line because it'll be like chuk, 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 chuk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
But you still have that. That's still an IMDb credit, right?
I guess I think I have to update my IMDb page myself. I don't think that automatically happens, but yeah, I think why not? I could use that if it's legitimately in a real movie that is out and available for people. Why not? I should be able to just add that to it. I have never updated my IMDb page. It's only got like 2 things on there, and I've had at least 15 to 20 television and movie credits that I should be like adding to it, but I'll get around to it one day. It's not important to me because, like, I can't imagine anybody going to IMDb and looking up Matt Napo. Just can't imagine it. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe a relative when I'm dead will.
If only we could get car wash listed on there. That'd be great.
I wonder. I never mentioned that to Tommy. Me and him were in the same movie together.
Together.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Be like, where we? I don't remember you in that movie. No, you wouldn't, unless you got unless you're really paying attention.
I was a punk kid walking the sidewalk trying to get in the shot.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was yesterday with the conversation. Now she's coming back Friday, and I think it's going to be a good one. But this idea of anything goes, anything fucking goes. And that came from Ayala, who's on Twitter, who said basically, if you are at a place where you're judging anybody for pedophilia or necrophilia or any of these things, that if in the past you would have been anti-gay, anti-trans, or, you would have been a bigot in terms of that. It's just like, so where do we go? Because you're saying pedophilia is acceptable. Well, in some cultures it is. In this culture, it's not. Okay.
Right. And this is where we live.
Right.
And that's what I was thinking, but we were on like a time constraint, so I withheld a lot of my chatter.
Yeah.
I withheld almost all my chatter.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I mean, it's definitely a subject. Listen, just because things happen in other cultures, it doesn't mean that it's always acceptable. Just because it happens other places or it used to be how things were, that doesn't mean that it's an okay fucking thing. You know
I
what I
know
mean?
that.
Like,
Yeah, I agree, but I'm struggling with that point because I think what she was really saying was, yeah, it's not okay with you, but if you were whatever culture you came from, it would be okay with them, and they,
now,
it's
I
like,
will say that she mentioned part of why like one of them and she didn't say which culture it was or whatever, but they said that they have older people teach the younger people what sex is about or whatever. Now,
She was being
like,
polite. They fucked them.
they fuck
Okay.
kids. They,
right,
An older
but
relative will burst the cherry of the flower or rape
Right.
the minor child. Yes.
I'm not.
Now,
I would not say she was being politically correct. I was saying she would be clinically correct. Could that? Because she is a
Yeah. Yes.
clinician and she's
Yeah.
somebody who studies this from an
right.
anthropological,
Right.
So
That's
biological
why.
perspective.
Yeah. That's why I
so
stumbled on the
I
word politically correct. I didn't want to say that. I realized what I was saying and tried to stop it halfway out my mouth.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I,
So
I
I will say that like because my first sexual encounter with a woman was with a much older woman, and I was 13, almost 14. And I will say that girl getting a hold of me and like
wait,
because
wait,
we had
stop,
sex regularly for like a year.
stop 1 second. You just said that girl. Was she over 18? Was she a woman or was she a girl?
Yeah,
Because if
yeah,
she's
she
a
was
girl,
22
that's
when we met.
fine.
No, she was 22 when we met, and I
All
was
right.
13, almost 14. So it was illegal all day. Like by the standard of the law, like she should have went to jail for what happened. Um, but like when my parents found out about it, my parents didn't find out about it until like a year later when my mom caught me kissing her in an alley. Um, and she flipped out because she knew how old the chick was. And so I remember the whole way home, like my parents were arguing because we lived about a half hour away, and so my parents were arguing on the way home. And my dad said, "You know what, Rose? Like he's old enough to know what he wants. I would venture to say that he was probably the pursuer of what was going on, which I was. Like the whole, it's not like it was a crazy ass situation that led to us hooking up. But I was definitely the pursuer of that happening. I did lie to her and tell her that I was 16, which wasn't a whole lot better, and it was still illegal. Um, but like that girl getting a hold of me is why I know so much of the things I know. The reason that I've been a good, decent lover in the sack is because I got with an older chick that literally taught me what to do.
Did
So I
ever
mean,
tell you guys about my first sexual encounter?
But you were 59 when it happened.
what animal was it?
Well, we'll talk about bestiality because that's part of that woman thing. Because if anything goes, that's in there
Anything
too.
goes. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Horse cock is great.
my father was banging this woman, cheating on my mother, and I got to be really careful about this because I don't want to embarrass anybody. People are still alive. My father, she was a smoking hottie, lived in the neighborhood. And I was looking through the window while my father was banging her, and she saw me looking through the window, and she was like, she was giggling, and she was like putting on a show for me. I'm 7 years old, and then a couple of days later, she got me alone, and she was giving me titty shows and stuff like that, and she started to jerk me off. But with a 7-year-old dick, you can't come. And she was giggling at me. I had this like rock hard 7-year-old boner, but couldn't come with it. Like it was just getting harder and harder, and I was getting blue balls and frustrated. And all I remember was her laughing at me, like because she knew there's some urge here to do something,
Right, but
but
it's never gonna go anywhere.
yeah, this gun is filled with blanks, and she was giggling about
Yeah.
that.
That's
Uh,
funny.
yeah, so that's my first sexual encounter. That can't be a healthy way to start out your sexual life.
No, no, and I don't think what I did was healthy. I think it made me a very hypersexual person. That has not went well in my life to be hypersexual like I have been. And tend to be still sometimes. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, this
So
caused a
how
lot
about
of
those three
relationship
soldiers?
problems.
So how about those three soldiers that died in Jordan just the other day? What do you think? What do you think?
Now that's a segue. I don't know anything about them, and that's a very sad
What?
thing. It's that I know they. I don't know their names. But this is a sad commentary. This is not in the news. This is
Brianna. Damn it! I did know their names. The one woman, two guys. Uh, Brianna Sanders. I think one's named Sanders. I can't remember now. But it's because I said I was going to write it down and I didn't write it down, so I'll just look it up. And then I said I'll look it up later. That's why I didn't write it down.
well.
I did, yeah. I do
So
know that they were all three people of color.
I did not know that. But again, this has not been covered in the media. We're so busy talking about a possible civil war in the United States, or or speculation about a civil war. Probably, I mean, unless some Yahoo pulls a trigger without being ordered to, probably not going to happen. But there's there's Yahoos all over. This is the problem. We have a exponential growth in Yahooism in America. People just like ready to go off the rails. So we're talking about that, and they're not covering the story. But the question, and I think 3 dozen people were injured in that attack. The question is,
Yeah.
what do we really do about it? I mean, do we start another war over that, or do we just do a one strike retaliation? And what does that prove? War is just a fucked up thing, man. I mean,
Well,
that's
what
what.
you do is, you before it even comes to that, if they get down there, then Biden federalizes the National Guard, takes them out of the control of the governors, and then they wouldn't be firing on the federal government because now they are the federal government. That's
But
it. I don't.
what
Ha-
does
I
that
don't
what
have
does
a.
that have to do with the Iranian backstrike in Jordan?
Oh, I thought you meant the Yahoos in
No,
Texas.
no, I mean, what do you do with in regards to that attack in Jordan with Iran? Do you just bomb like a facility over there and call it tit for tat, or do you start a full out war? I mean,
I
nobody wants a full out war. That would, that would
That
be.
would yeah that would inflate our gas prices. Yeah, war would do that. We got to have our cheap gas. So let's see. You take out some of they have spy ships. Take out some of their spy ships, and all kinds of sanction them so hard they think they're being fucked by the banks. Uh,
And
you
at the
know,
end of the day, what does that do? I mean, again, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
look,
I don't have any of the fucking answers, but it seemed like tit for tat. Oh, you got us, now we get you, now call it even. Even no matter how hard we hit them back, it's just like it's
well,
never.
back
You,
back
you
in
ne-
my day, we would have taken out the Shah. We would have sent somebody in and shot him and replaced him with another Shah. That's what we would have done back in my day.
Right. Yeah, that's what we would have done. Absolutely. The place I was at yesterday, uh, it was run by Iranian Americans, and I don't know what their loyalties are. You know, it's weird to say because most of the time, Italian Americans, I people assume like if in World War II that Italian Americans their loyalty was with Italy when they were part of the Axis. I don't want to fall into that mindset. But when you're dealing with Iranians, you have, and these are not Iranians who were born here. They were born in Tehran, Iran, and came here. And so I'm always like questioning if that was your home, you came here for a better place. Are your loyalties still there though? Because your family's still there, all that stuff.
Nice.
Right.
It's hard
Yeah.
to not be a
Now
bigot.
then we're thinking like the Japanese internment camp mentality. It's like not knowing you can trust them. So just throw them all in 7-Elevens or something.
All right. Uh,
Well, fucking 7-Eleven, this guy. I mean, didn't they when Pearl Harbor happened? Didn't they take a lot of Japanese Americans and put them into camps because
yeah,
they weren't
internment
sure?
camps,
Not a lot. Not a
concentration
lot.
camps.
Almost all.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just about
Right.
all.
Yeah. So I mean, we were nervous about that when Pearl Harbor happened. We didn't trust a
Right,
fucking
that's my
Japanese
point.
person to save our fucking lives.
It's hard
Yeah.
not to be a bigot in times like that. That was my point. Like I understand that I totally understand that Italian Americans came up against that in New York when Italy was still part of the Axis, and although having some Italian heritage, that kind of bugs me in some way, but you got to understand it. There's that knee jerk reaction to like, you still got family over there, and I still do. I still on my Facebook events, there are probably 300 or 400 people named Napo, all who all live in Italy. I don't know how many of them I'm actually related
Conway's
to.
a huge Irish name. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. It's hard not to become a bigot in times of war and in times of attacks and all that kind of stuff, and assume. Now, I wouldn't want to see anybody at this point put in internment camps, but it's hard not to be a little suspicious and ask, you know, are you with us or are you with them in times of when it comes down? It's a tough thing.
Well, if by chance if Trump wins, then I'm going to take all of the money that I have in my 401k, all $13 of it, and I'm going to put it in internment camps. Because I'm pretty sure that my money will grow.
I don't think they're publicly traded.
Not what? No, not now.
I don't think it ever would. Well, I can't say that.
I think if Trump wins, they would somehow incorporate into internment camps, and probably one of Elon Musk ventures. Musk would probably.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. But and they wouldn't call it an internment camp. They would probably call it like a re-education center, or they'd call it a holding area.
Here's a thought that just occurred to me since you brought up Musk and all of this. You don't need the fences and walls. You just put a chip in their brain and monitor their thoughts, and if they're going to be part of the enemy or not.
Right. It's like wasn't that part of the I mean, it wasn't brain chips or whatever, but in that 1984, wasn't it like you had to go to your TV and they knew that if you weren't watching the update of the propaganda or whatever, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's part of why I'll never get a Neuralink or even listen, if they get to the point where your finances are a chip that gets scanned in your hand or anything like that,
they don't need them. They have our phones. They have our phones and our computers and our televisions.
No,
all of those things.
Siri is listening to. See, there she is. Go to bed.
Yeah.
Pardon?
No, yeah. They're all listening. Yeah.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to them about you. That person in the phone. That person in the phone is listening 24/7. That's how she knows I say her name. Yeah. So she's got to be listening for that to happen. So as long as it's up, get off.
My wife asked me, she says, "Do you want us to get an Alexa or a Siri?" I said, "Why?" I said, "They'd be the only things in the house listening to us because we don't listen to each other."
Right, and the GPS always knows where you are. I mean, as long as that that phone is powered up, the satellite is tracking where you're moving all the time too. You're hitting all these towers, but beyond hitting the towers, as soon as I hit the map, it knows exactly the street I'm on and it pinpoints. It puts a pin on me. So we're being tracked completely.
My old GPS, as soon as depending on the time of day and the day of the week, as soon as I get in my car, my GPS would assume it knew where I was going.
Right.
And it would like offer to plot it. Now it's a good thing I'm not cheating on my wife.
Wait. Let me get this straight. So as soon as you get in the car, it goes crack whore 3 blocks away.
So, yes. It's a good thing that if my wife were sitting next to me, that's what it'd be like. No, just learn these routes by heart. Don't plot them in, because at one point somebody can look at your GPS and go, "So this is where that bastard goes on Wednesday nights." We knew where he was going on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but Wednesdays was always iffy.
I feel you. I feel you on that. Now, I want you to bring this up to the Rev, because this week's sermon was about sex and voting, but he was also talking about inflation and mentioned that prices of everything have gone up, even like abortions and contraceptives. But the question I have, crack whores basically have leveled off for about 40 years, right? I'm not saying I know this from experience, but I don't.
You can only charge so much for a toothless blowjob, okay? I mean,
So I think that's immune to inflation. I is the point I'm making. Now I always think it's
psychological. It's a psychological thing, because this is what they've learned in marketing. Like, have you ever noticed that most items, when you buy them on television, there's it's 1995, 1995, 1995. Okay, even if it's more than 1995, they break it down to payments of like 1995, and the reason being, people, as a general rule of thumb, if they pay $20 for something and something goes wrong, they will want a refund. But if it's under $20, they say, fuck it, I'm not going to bother with it. They don't ask for a refund. That's why the price stops at like 1995, because people, on average, won't ask for a refund. The same with the crack whores. People are not going to. It's the same thing. If you get a blowjob for $6 and it's not satisfactory, you're going to bitch. But if it's $5, you're gonna be like, "Fuck it, keep the money. I'm done." And that's it. It's a psychological thing. You
I
don't
don't know if
even need the reverend
anybody's
for that.
ever gone to a crack whore for a refund. I have a receipt.
That's because they keep it at $5. If it were more, then they'd want like receipts for taxes, and they'd be complaining about the dollar amount.
All right, I got to play a commercial, but not just yet because this crack whore stuff. Got to be careful about this again. I'm just going to say a relative somewhere got a brand new car and went up to get a crack whore, and the crack whore put a gun to his head and stole the brand new car. But because it was brand new, it was insured for theft, and he got a brand new car replaced.
Nice.
And then he took that car to get another crack whore, and that crack whore put a gun to his head and stole the car.
Same crack whore?
Nope. Same area, same block.
Damn.
Did he get the blowjobs first?
No.
Because if
they must have
you
seen him
blow
coming.
me and
They
then
must...
steal my car, I'm not as upset about it. You know what I mean? Like, because I just paid.
What?
They saw him coming. Yeah.
You know who was really aggravated by the whole thing?
The insurance company.
No, me.
Because it was your car?
Because you needed rides?
Who has to go pick him up now in Crack Alley?
And now that's on your GPS twice.
Yeah.
Okay,
well, no, this
get
was
another
long before
insurance
GPS
company?
was a thing. This was, I'm talking about like
Maps.
1983 or something.
Did he get another insurance settlement? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I think he did. But I
see,
think at that point there was an intervention,
was the
and he,
like, "Hey, don't go to this fucking street anymore."
yeah. Well, I think at that point there was an intervention where he had to go away for 6 weeks, and at that time rehab, like they didn't put like so yeah, like 6 weeks of like internment camp of off the street, and basically brainwashed into thinking. You're only driving to church now. That's the only place you're allowed to drive is from home to church, and that lasted a couple of years, I think. But yeah, I think he did get the money back again the second time. I'm pretty sure that it's so long ago I don't remember, but and I don't even. I can't even really call him and ask about that. It's not that's something you. Hey, remember when you got robbed by the crack horse?
Yeah.
Right.
The second time.
Yeah. But so if we can segue briefly back before I play the commercial now, back to the discussion about anything goes. So necrophilia was okay in her book, depending on the culture, not in the United States, not in our current culture, but also bestiality. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, and she did mention, even along the lines of the anal sex stuff, that hygiene and all that stuff is a concern. That whole idea, because they broadcast it years ago. I think it was on Reddit, where there was a whole long thread about porno that was ass to mouth, A to M, A to M, and basically
ATM, yeah.
Yeah, a guy with his fucking dick in a girl's ass pulls it out and then sticks that chocolatey dick right in her mouth. It's like,
okay, well, for one, your dick's usually not chocolately. It's really obvious that you've had very minimal anal.
I told you, no, I have very little. Wait, let me stop you there. Very little, make it zero. And I plan on checking out with that same record intact.
Generally how it goes. Just so you know, for one, most people, when they know they're going to have anal, they clear out the fucking skids. and
But
make
what if you
sure
don't know? The people, you don't plan on
right,
sex all the
yeah,
time.
no, that's true. That's not
And
true.
people
That's
have
definitely not
fetishes,
true.
and people have fetishes as well. So
Right,
there could
yeah.
be someone with a
So,
fetish. So let's.
but
So Matt, why were you watching that?
I wasn't. I was reading it on Reddit. I think it was on Reddit, and there
Okay.
was a whole long argument about it because what Willie's point is, it's not always chocolatey, and part of the discussion was,
but it's
yeah, it
still
is.
gross.
It's just white chocolate or
Yeah, yeah,
transparent
yeah.
chocolate. It's
I mean, there's
still
anal
there.
juices. There's anal juices on the
Bacteria.
dick for sure.
Bacteria.
But this
Okay.
is what I want to say. So I've only experienced that one time. I've had a girl go ass to mouth one time. And I'll say this: it was completely unexpected. I didn't know that she was going to do it, but it was like I was about to come, and I said something, and she just turned around and started sucking right away, and it was one of the hottest things ever. And I'll tell you why, because
Because it
like
was summertime in
what
July.
no, it
And
was
no air
actually
conditioning.
we were outside. It was okay, but like the temperature was fine or whatever. But what that action said to me was that I want your cum in my mouth so fucking bad that I don't even care that your dick was just in my ass. And that's an
Well,
amazing message.
what
to send a man.
I would question is how many other parts of the population has she had that thought about? And
I mean, she was a youngster, so I mean, probably not that many. Or maybe
The lesson
maybe
I
many. I don't
learned
know. Who knows?
is like she had so many damaged brain cells that she thought it was a good idea. So
it can't be
Well,
healthy. It can't be
we're
healthy.
also on drugs. You can get a parasite that way for sure. You can totally get a parasite.
not just a pair. You can get a bunch more than a pair of sites. You can get a whole lot of sites up that way.
You get
telling
a
you,
bushel
yeah.
of sight. A
They
bushel of
don't
sight.
come in twos. They don't just come in twos.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know what you learned in science class. They multiply.
All right,
More than just a
let's
pair.
be quiet for a second. We have to play a commercial. Before we play a commercial, I'm just going to play a little intro for you. This is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Hey there, I'm Mr. Geronimo, product manager for Tracy's Dog. What is Tracy's Dog? Well, for $50, we send you a high quality sex toy right to your door. Yeah, $50. Are our toys any good? No. They're f***ing amazing. Yeehaw! Each toy is made with body safe silicone. We are constantly evolving and innovating our product line. They are built for one thing, to shake your world with orgasms you ain't never seen before. Do you like spending $100 for your sex toy? 80 of it goes to retail. What about bumping into your family while at the sex toy shop? Good taste.
Good taste.
Get the pleasure you deserve without broadcasting your secrets. And think of all the money we're going to be saving you.
All right, one more. I got to run for coffee.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just another retailer. We're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box. or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Get started today. Visit minddogtv.com and click on the banner on the homepage.
Make it back. I made it back in time almost. All right, we've fulfilled our commercial obligations here. Thanks for hanging with us. I see we lost a bunch of people. They don't like the commercials. Well, that's rough, but I hope they're still supporting our sponsors, like it or not. Anyway, we lost our Willie.
Mm.
Oh, what are you eating? You're eating.
Oh,
No eating.
dark chocolate and almond bars.
Ah, dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate.
And see, I'm being a diabetic. If my blood sugar gets a little bit too low, I will grab a little bit something and watch it shoot up.
You're a biodetic?
Oh yeah.
You know, now that I've gotten rid of Mind Dog coffee, I'm getting more and more pictures of these hot girls with drinking coffee that I could be using in the advertising without any need for them. So my pages are flooded with hot girls drinking coffee, but I got no use for them anymore. It's a shame. It's a total shame. Anyway, we're waiting on an author named Juliet Rose. Now, I think Juliet Rose is actually a thing, right? It's like a type of rose, a type of flower. Because when I put her name in YouTube and the AI stuff finds all the tags that are associated with that, it was like how to grow a Juliet Rose type of thing, or how to dress
you need
a
a
Juliet.
petri dish.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys are a florist, part-time florist, or florist hobbyist, or arborist.
One of us has a interesting relationship with flowers and florists.
I'm not allowed in flower shops. I'm not.
No, I was talking about me. It's not everything's about you. Sometimes it's about damn. I guess you know something. I'm never going to get to tell my florist story because your florist story always has to trump mine. So forget it.
No,
I don't even want to talk about mine. No.
Wait, let me guess. Let me guess. You went into a florist and she was having necromancy with a dog, and you decided to have ass to mouth sex with her.
I told the story already.
Yeah.
Okay.
You told it to me offline, and I just I remembered it in the moment.
Okay, never mind. Like I said, I won't get to tell my floor story online. Nope, forget that.
You know what? YouTube censors must be out fucking sleeping, or they just like they're negligent on the job. They're not. There is so much they could be striking me down for, and maybe I. Knock on wood. Maybe I shouldn't be complaining. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
You'll hear it in 2 months. You'll hear it in 2 months. There's like a 2-month lag between YouTube.
To say? Yeah.
Well, you know what? You could be right about that. With the crazy lady, the God particle crazy lady, when they finally figured, it was 2 years after that interview when they finally gave me a strike for that one. So maybe that's the case.
What are we not supposed to say? Bestiality stuff or what?
It depends. I honestly don't know.
I don't know either. I just say whatever the fuck I want.
TikTok. On TikTok, I will find out I will get something within like 30 seconds. They'll go, community standards, I violated. And I will look for it. I will not know what the hell they're talking about.
I think it's fine to talk about all these things if you talk about them in the way that Dr. Wolf was talking about them. But as we talk about them like a bunch of elementary school boys who just found daddy's Playboy, whatever, he's giggling about it, I think they frown upon that. But in the monetization stuff, you can specify there, and you can also specify that it's you have to be 18 or older to watch this shit.
Right.
We do that. That this is not for kids. I don't have anyone under 18 has to pass a yes, I'm over 18 button check.
Yeah, that's actually how I got that's why I got nervous and how I ended up getting hacked really because um I was nervous that like they were trying to shut my page down because like a few days before that somebody was complaining about the content on the Conway Cool Kids page saying that like we were trying to target kids because the Cool Kids logo is a cartoon or whatever. And both Kelly and I were like tried telling them what
Wow. So
but
they actually thought out how they were going to individually scam you because they went and did some research, looked at your page, and gave you a trigger that they knew you would fall for. That's unusual.
I
Usually,
mean,
it's like
kinda. I
a
mean,
form
because I was
letter.
panicked. Yeah, I was super fucking panicked. And I like just started going through the process, and I had given my password, which I like when they first, and I was like, well, I don't know, whatever, because I was like, I don't want to get my shit shut down. And then I gave them and then on the next thing they wanted even more information, and I was like, there's no way they need all this information. And so I backed out of it and I quit, but the damage was already done because I gave my password. And so, and by the next morning, I was locked out of my account, you know. But it was fucking, I don't know, but I don't know if it was the same people that did that or whatever, but that definitely heightened my nervousness from my page getting shut down, which is why I was so panicked in the moment.
Right.
See,
I
and that's why my password is 1 2 3 4 because no one expects it to be 1 2 3 4.
Nobody.
Right.
Well, good thing that nobody listens to this program, man, because they
Right.
would know.
Yeah,
And
Oh
I
well, they
just
don't know your
Kelly
username.
Kelly's blaming herself. Right. Kelly, don't
yeah,
blame
yeah.
yourself. I'm
My
definitely the inappropriate one. It's not you.
Oh come
no, he
on.
should blame himself. He should blame himself. Yeah, don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
no.
do blame him.
As captain of the ship,
I was the
I
idiot
am
that gave
totally
the password.
responsible for all. I am. I'm all. I'm completely responsible for all the bad content, good content, or anything that happens on this program. So I have to take responsibility for it. At the end of the day, this is why we're on so many platforms because I'm expecting somebody's going to get mad at me sooner or later and say, and this comes down to the whole censorship
Right.
argument because listen, Alex Jones says the fucking most outrageous things all day long, and he's always complaining about censorship, but he's
All
always
the time.
there. He's always there. He's on whatever network he's on. Somebody is broadcasting him. He's got his own streaming service or whatever, but you can't really say you're censored if I'm still hearing you. I can't go to
Yeah,
any
Right.
place where I
yes,
can't hear you.
yes.
Uh,
They're so fucking annoying. It's like I'm being silenced. They say it from Fox News and OAN, and no,
Well,
you're
I
not
think
being
that's because
silenced.
he has a number of videos that get taken down though, and I think that's what he's talking about. That's what he's
Taken
trying to
down by
highlight
who? He's
is
got
that
his
those
own server. He taken
Yeah,
down off of YouTube. Here's the thing: censorship, free speech is free. A microphone isn't. A amplifier isn't free. You have to buy that for yourself. So nobody, you can say whatever you want, but YouTube in this case, or Facebook, or they're the amplifier, and they
right.
don't owe you a microphone and amplification. So it's not the government isn't shutting you down.
right.
The businesses have a right to say you're not good for my business because that's where it all comes down to. If Facebook deemed or YouTube deemed that I was hurting their business, I'd be gone in a second, and they have every right to say that in a free market economy. Like, you know what? Yeah, this guy he's hurting our business. He's taking away from us. Why should we be forced to give him a platform? So I'm fine with that. I understand that, and if it's going to
Yeah,
happen, it's going to happen. But that's where all this bullshit comes in. Alex Jones wants to be entitled to have a microphone to get in your ear because he does have his own server. You just have to go to find it generally, unless Elon Musk lets him back on Twitter, which he has, and now it's like in my feed, even though I've like blocked them or whatever. I still fucking see other people sharing this stuff. But
So I was listening to a guy talk on a format, and he was talking about how people cannot he was anti-political correctness, but he wouldn't say any of the words that he was against people not allowing him to say.
Right.
I said, so it's we wouldn't say like, the C word. I'm like, no, if you are against political correctness, say cunt. Don't sit there and go the C word. Say it. I couldn't. I was just getting so annoyed, but I was trying to be polite because sometimes I can get unpolite,
I'm
and
glad you
then
brought this up because I wanted to talk about this yesterday in the drive. I was thinking about this because of yesterday's guest, Dr. Leanna Wolf, and she reminded me a little bit. And you guys, GD, you're old enough to remember this, but probably weren't exposed at the same time that I was. Dr. Ruth Westheimer, who
yeah,
was
yeah,
yeah, but I got exposed to her in the 70s. Now, in the 70s, when Carlin was talking about the 730 words, you couldn't say. If you did say those, the FCC would have you arrested. And
right.
literally, they'd come and put handcuffs on you. But we would sit in the car as teenagers, like 13, 14 years old, and we'd be smoking pot and getting high at 10 o'clock at night. And you'll hear this old lady come on and talk about blowjobs and putting your head around the rim of the penis and sucking softly until he gets ready to ejaculate in your mouth, and you pull out and he ejaculates all over your face. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm listening to this little old lady say things on the air that George Carlin would get arrested for. Now, she never said fuck. She never said cunt. She never said, whatever the 730
Tits.
was.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
always used the clinical terms.
Yeah, but she did say blowjob, and she did say ejaculate all over your face, penis, hard penis erection. But she would talk about sex in graphical terms, and just like this lady yesterday. But she could get away with it on AM radio late at night, or it might have been FM radio. But she had a talk show, and people would call in with sex questions. And we were 13, 14 years old, and like getting high and like laughing about it. But it was
Right.
it's so weird how. Because in those times you had to really be careful with the FCC, or you'd get fined, you get arrested, all that kind of stuff. And she was getting away with
Right.
being out
Well, and
there.
there was probably a reason that she was on at that hour, because I know that they had
Yes.
different
Yeah.
restrictions. They had looser restrictions like after 9 p.m. I want to say, I think was the cutoff. It might have been 10, but that's why the late night shows and stuff like that were, because those are taped in the afternoon
Right.
generally. But they're not on until 10:30 or whatever, because they were waiting until after that 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah, but there was still, you wouldn't be talking about the kind of stuff that Dr. Ruth was talking about. That in my day, it
Right?
was
Yeah,
just,
no, not on the Tonight Show or anything.
yeah.
No.
There
Uh,
was one episode of Johnny Carson which I still remember to this day. Just it cracked me up so much. I was probably in junior high school maybe, and I believe it was Zsa Zsa Gabor was on his show, and she had a cat sitting in her
now,
lap.
Dolly Parton.
Was it Dolly Parton? And she says, "Would you like to stroke my pussy?" And he
Oh,
says,
no.
"Move that damn cat, and I will."
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought it
yeah,
was
you're
Zsa
right.
Zsa Gabor.
You might be right about that. There was because he did get in trouble for saying he would give a week's salary to look under. I think it was Dolly's uh,
Yeah.
top or something or whatever. But
Wow.
yeah, I think the pussy thing was Joshua Gabor, or it might have been.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was It was one of the Gabor sisters, I thought, but I thought it was Zsa Zsa. It could have been Ava or Marie, but I thought it was Zsa Zsa.
I'm gonna look that up. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, so Willie, why didn't you change it to the load and his lady? I don't understand. I think that would have been such a bet. No, I
Well,
did you
because we
already
have
copyright?
documentation.
I figured as
Yeah,
much because I yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we are
So
we
just
are technically a lord and lady. I don't know if you know that, but we have
Well, I know
documentation to
she's
prove.
I know that you have documentation that she's a lady. I didn't know that you had documentation that you were like a lord. I thought that was just like white privilege.
Yeah.
Uh, okay.
Yeah. No,
so
no.
you own land because that's what a lord means. How big a
Yeah.
piece of land do you own?
We own 2 square feet in Scotland.
All right.
We
Not
got a
enough to
square
not
feet
enough to
piece.
bury you unless you get buried vertically.
or
Right, yeah, if I
cremated.
put her in an urn, but actually, the paperwork that you get, it actually so it says it states on there, no matter how much land you buy, you're not allowed to develop it or put anything on it or anything like that. So, like this
What
land that
about
we
in it?
owned is
GD, this is
right.
gonna
Well,
break. This is gonna
that's a
break
good
your heart.
question because I would like it would be cool for both of us to be able to be cremated, put in urns, and then put into our plots in Scotland. That would be dope as fuck, but I don't think that's allowable. And
No.
it's
What,
probably
man?
it's probably in a swamp, in a bog somewhere. You know, it's probably not nice territory of Scotland.
What, it was
Um,
Sammy Davis Jr.?
no.
What? What about Sammy Davis Jr.?
The apocryphal Tonight Show incident with Zsa Zsa Gabor and her cat is a wellspring of one of the greatest manufactured memories in the modern popular culture.
Really?
No matter how many millions of times people swear they were watching the Tonight Show when the exchange below involving Zsa Zsa's cat and Johnny's supposedly quick and dirty comeback took place, it simply didn't happen.
Really? Because that I
What?
really have an implanted memory. I can actually see it in my head.
Memories
That
are so
sounds like
fucked up like that because maybe if
sounds
you
like the
heard the story
Mandela
so
effect.
many times that you made the picture in your mind that somebody was telling the story and you accepted it as true and you manufactured that in your brain and now that replaces anytime it's brought up you can actually
Right,
see it happening and
right.
remember it like you were there and it didn't really
Yes,
happen.
I
What's the
remember
old
it like I was
saying?
sitting on the living room, floor watching it.
Yeah.
The
Damn,
old
that's
saying, if
fucked
you lie
up.
the same
I'm
lie
sued.
long enough, it
I'm
just
sorry.
becomes the truth.
Somebody's got to get sued. Nobody should have that kind of space in my head
Yeah.
Right.
because that's a
Now,
real memory. That's a real memory that I thought. I mean, that affected the way I thought of humor. I mean, that to me that affected part of the way I approach humor. That one line.
I'm going to
To me,
check
my whole
I'm going to check my comment now about the one where he said I'd give a week's paycheck to look under there. That probably didn't happen either. But I don't
I
remember
thought that
actually.
I bet
happened too, but
these things
I
probably
don't
did
remember
happen.
that.
Listen, the Mandela effect is definitely happening right here and now. I'm telling you, because there's no way that many people remember something that didn't happen. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Come on.
yes, there is a way because that's the way memory works. Memory is not. You're not seeing pictures. Every time you remember something, you are reconstructing it in your mind. So you are you're putting those things together and convincing yourself that you're watching a movie, but you're not watching a movie. You're watching something you created in your mind
Right.
based on how you filed it in your little um, Rolodex there. Dolly Parton. Yeah, it was Dolly Parton, right? But uh, Johnny Carson once told this is Johnny Carson once told Dolly Parton he'd give about a year's pay to peek at her undressed. This is actually marked as true, and the
Ooh. What did Dolly
1977.
respond with?
I'm looking for that.
That's where she got the money to start off Dollyland.
She said, I didn't know quite how to." This is Dolly quoting it, remembering it to a. She said, "I didn't know how to take it, but anymore, there's not a road show on the road that don't make some sort of jokes about it." Blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
So
really?
okay,
Wow.
yeah, I think she just laughed it off.
I mean, probably.
That's a
And took the
crazy.
money.
That's a crazy thing to say, even in 1977. Though, I mean, you give a year's play to see her naked. What, what, what? You know, go get yourself a Playboy. They're all in there.
Well, okay, but part of that is, to me, I think part of that comes from her stature. Like she's not somebody that you get to see naked, so it makes you like there's a part of you that wants to see it even more because it's something that's just not going to happen.
Look,
Right.
Johnny Carson had like 12 wives at one point. He could have just as easily just married her, and or actually, I don't know. I don't know how many wives. He was married, divorced, or 7 times. She could have been number 8. If that's all he wanted. And it would save him a year's salary.
Guess what? Our guest is late or missing
Son of a
or
bitch.
or we all saw her already and we just don't remember it.
No, it's maybe she's a manufactured guest. Maybe I never really, maybe I really never had a contact with her. I just manufactured that in my mind. Is that
shifting
possible?
realities through shifting realities through words.
I'm
Damn it.
saying,
I
yeah,
can't. I'm still having difficulty with the Jaja thing because that is so fucking real to me.
I know, I know how you feel. Listen, I I got to be a little careful again. I'm being really careful today. Somebody, I have a friend, Kevin Mazer, who's a very renowned photographer in the rock and roll and celebrity world, and somebody I know tells stories about working with Kevin that are so fantastical. He always makes himself the hero in the story. And I've talked to Kevin about it. He's like, that didn't happen that way. But every time he tells a story, he he has got himself believing that the story. I don't think he's lying at this point. I think this is the way he remembers it, and the way he's convinced himself, and he's told the story so many times that as he's remembering it, he's seeing it like a movie in his mind. And that movie never happened. The movie was never made. It was it was never cast. But he tells these stories. I don't want to get into them because might embarrass him. And I know when he tells the story, somebody will say, "Oh, I remember Matt talking about that on the show," and then he was talking about how that's all bullshit. Uh, Bullshit is a tough word. He's not necessarily bullshitting. I think the first time he told the story, he might have been bullshitting. But now, after 40 years or so, he's got himself convinced that that really happened that way, and it's really weird. Memory's a fucked up thing, man.
Now I know that as because I'm like the last of my siblings and family, that I consider myself the keeper of the memories. You know, because like before it was like two of us. Before it was like before my brother passed, I could call my brother and say, Ralph, do you remember when such and such happened? And he was like 3 years older than me, so he might have a better recollection. He go like, oh no, you're conflating two incidences. This happened on this and this happened here. But now it's just me. I'm in charge of all those memories. And so the first thing I'm going to do is every one of them where my brother was the hero. Fuck that! It's now
You're
me.
now
I
the
am
hero.
going to supplant.
Yeah,
I'm now the
yeah.
hero. Yeah, so
That's
because I'm
fine.
in charge
Amen.
of the memories.
That's
Yes, I'm in charge
fine.
of them. Yes.
That's fine. But when you include all these, first of all, as I mentioned, Kevin is a world-renowned photographer, and every time the stories get told, it's like Kevin was incompetent, and I had to save the day for him. And there's like 4 or 5 of these stories, and like Kevin has had a 40-year career of big-time success, and he's only brought this guy with him 4 or 5 times, and like you have to ask, gee, how did he have such a great career with you only being there 4 or 5 times? If he's that incompetent, you had to save him every fucking time. How did he have such an amazing career? And so,
Right.
um, but yeah, it's a good thing you're not the memory keeper of the Gabor family. I'll tell you that much.
No, but I think I would be a very good keeper of the
Or the
Gabor family
Carson
because
family.
now the Carson family, I'm good. I'm not. Don't want those memories. But the Gabor family, yeah. I. So now you're telling me that according to this, I never had sex with Halle Berry.
Let me hold on. I'll look that up. You guys
Yeah,
talk amongst
because
yourselves.
I distinctly remember a party where we were. It was I was in Hollywood with a bunch of my friends, and two of them were ADAs and DAs, ADs. They were assistants to the directors on these two movies, and one was a uh, Kevin Costner movie, the one where he was like the bad guy who kidnapped a kid, and the other one was a damn it, Clint Eastwood movie, the one where he had just won an Oscar for. But the two of
Hold
them were
on.
working together on a
The
movie.
search terms here: did Halle Berry ever have sex with the world's least successful comedian? Is that what I'm putting in? I'm just trying to.
Second least.
Oh,
But
okay.
technically, I wasn't a comedian back there at all. So technically, it would have been like the world's third worst guitarist.
Uh, yes. According to the internet, yes. But
Okay.
your name isn't in there.
No,
Some
no, I wasn't using my real name because I was shocked. I was so
you were going
shocked
by
that
Billy Bob Thornton.
whatever she wanted to
I
call
love
me, whatever she wanted to call me, I was like, well, fine, I'm fine with
I
that
love
as long as I'm here.
Okay.
this
I guess I guess just had an internet outage, but I guess her phone is working, so because she got my email. Either way,
I forgot that Halle Berry was topless in this movie Swordfish. Right. That's a good catch, Rappler. If you want to see Halle Berry topless, you can watch the movie Swordfish. There's a
Oh,
short scene in
please,
there
where's
that
my?
movie's that.
Okay, if you, all right, let me get my collection of photos. If you want to see her topless, um,
see, Mike Chavola knows the guy I was talking about, and then he's going to probably rat me out today and say, Napa was calling you a bullshit artist on the show. I was. I confess, I'm guilty.
Well,
I'm
I
not
mean, you
saying he was a
did
bull.
call Mike
Actually,
Chavola like the axis of evil or
no, I
something.
didn't. No, I didn't. But I did not call this guy a bullshit
I know
artist.
that
By
you
the
were
way,
really mad at him the other day.
yeah, I
that's
was.
true. You did not call him that. You didn't call him a bullshit artist.
No, I said the first time it was probably bullshit, but every time after that, I think he thinks it was real, and
Right.
I actually believe that because I watch him as he's telling the story, and he's like trying to. And sometimes he catches himself like, oh wait a minute, that's not that story. I got that story mixed up with another story.
Right.
I see him catch
Right.
himself all the time, but I don't think he's. Again, I think the very first time it was a bullshit story, but then somehow he was the one listening when he told the bullshit story and believed it. Uh,
Again, she brought just enough for Willie, but not enough for everybody.
yeah. Well,
It's
I
really
mean,
good too, by the way.
so yeah. So yeah.
Leave it to Willie that
I'm sorry.
teabagging. His wife is teabagging him right on air.
So Juliet Rose, she's still trying to join us. She said she's had an internet outage and waiting for it to come back on. Uh, I'm really looking forward to talking to her because she's an author of fiction, but a wide variety of subjects in the fiction. I want to know how you know about all these things. They talk about write about what you know, right? And so
Yeah.
she's talking
Yeah.
about mental illness. She's talking about heroin addiction. Um, this one synopsis of a book. Adrian is tumbling through life behind the eye of his camera, trying to hide from the truth about himself when he meets a skateboarder, and they are forced to stand against police brutality, church abuse, bigotry, all while protecting each other. Those kind of stories, like. If you don't know those, you can't write about what you don't know and write about it convincingly. You can't even make up fiction. And part of this idea is that fiction is close to lying. It's close to being a bullshit artist. You are creating those kind of stories and within your head, just like a false memory. But
Right.
you can't really do it effectively if you haven't had similar experiences to draw from. And she's got a ton of these books, all of them with. Oh, she's here now, so we get to talk to her about it directly and find out about this stuff. Let me read a brief bio
My
here.
guess is that she learned about it at sitting at bars and AA meetings, and then she just recreated those stories.
Okay,
Oh,
Juliet
there's plenty.
Rose.
Yeah.
Let me introduce her and we can talk to her and we don't have to keep talking about her like she's not in the room because she can hear us.
But she's not in
Uh,
the room.
she is in the room. She's in the
He is in the room.
she's in the
He's in
corner
the
back
back
there.
room.
She's in the corner
It's
over there.
within earshot.
Right. Uh, now
Oh, hi.
she is an author of
Oh my.
many books. And she's one of the rarities among authors that we're going to talk to, or that I have talked to, because most of them did not know they wanted to be a writer at a young age. I've had a few. By the way, one of the publicists reached out to me. Can I have a 7-year-old author on? I said, yeah, but you got to send their parents with them. I can't talk to a 7-year-old without some kind of safety net there. But so she knew she wanted to be a writer from a very young age. She's written about a lot of subjects that we were just talking about. She's a New York native living in the mountains of Georgia, and she's here now. Let's welcome in. You're crackling, GD. I think that's you.
I don't.
Yes,
Is
that
it?
was yes. Anyway, welcome, Juliet Rose. I'm sorry for that awkward introduction. Welcome to the program.
No worries, and I'm sorry for being late. We live up in a rural town with crappy internet, so I had my
Yeah,
hotspot on now.
yeah. What happened? You got struck by lightning, or you were hit by a tornado? You had an earthquake? You had a rock in your shoe? You ran out of gas? The sun was in your eyes?
All of those, yeah, all of
Wow.
that.
So, thank you for coming. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. You are now your latest book. I just want to be clear on here. It's your latest book, Do Over, or
That was my first book. So that
okay,
came out in 2021. The latest book that was published was called Stitched Together. That came out in September of 2023. And
Oh.
then I am also working on a book that comes out next month.
I think Willie. I think that was you that was just crackling there because GD's muted. Yeah. Anyway, one of you was muted. Anyway, thank you for clarifying that up. Stitched Together is the most recent book.
Yeah, and it's a novella, so that's my only novella. The rest are all novels.
Okay. What we were just talking about, memory. We were talking about memory, and I have a friend who is very good at bullshitting. But the part about memory and telling, I think he believes in the stories. He's had those experiences or similar experiences enough to portray those false memories as if they were real. Now, you write about a wide variety of subjects, and I'm just wondering, your world of experience, where does your knowledge of, because in order to write good fiction, you have to have had some experience or know a little bit about it or really do a whole lot of research. Where do you come from in that?
Yeah, it's a mixture of things. A lot of it's life experience. So I'll definitely weave in personal experiences I've had into my stories. But a lot of times I'll hear, say, like a news story, or I'll hear a song, and it just triggers something in me to kind of want to research a little more. And so a lot of my stories I get from that, where like an idea kind of comes to me, and then I just do the research and start digging into, whatever it is. So for example, with Prick of the Needle, it was wildland firefighting. I had to research all that. And I did such a good job that one of my readers said, "Oh, this author clearly had once been a wildland firefighter." I had not. I just did the research, and I think that's really important to make sure you're accurate.
So the book Prick and Needle, first of all, the title could be a little confusing to some people, especially people who read this show. Years in prison and heroin and all that kind of stuff. Have you had experience? Do you know people who've done that? Have you had experience with it?
Yeah, so I definitely know people that have had heroin addictions. But a lot of it still was just taking the time to research, read stories, talk to people. Sometimes if you have something that you want to write, put it out there and say, has anybody had this experience? And you get a more personal kind of version of that. With that one, I really was initially interested because I saw an article about wildland firefighters that were used in states that were prisoners. And so that really intrigued me, and I just started researching that.
Okay. Just want to clarify stuff for the guys. Willie, I have you muted because you would definitely interfere. If you have something to say, you unmute yourself, and then you're going to have to mute yourself again because there's like some severe interference we've never had with you before. GD, I guess you can just stay unmuted because you aren't the crackling noise. We usually expect that from you.
Usually the crackling noise comes from my mouth and not my mic. I understand.
Right, yeah.
So, Juliet, if I may say, you smell wonderful. You do. What is it you're wearing?
I think shampoo.
Oh, I love shampoo. That's
Me too, yeah.
Very nice shampoo. Yeah.
Me too. I was going to bring that up yesterday in the sex conversation. We were talking about pheromones and all that kind of stuff. There is nothing.
GD's so used to.
Go ahead.
GD's so used to people smelling bad that shampoo is sexy.
That's right. Shampoo is sexy. Trust me, it is.
As I mentioned, you are one of the few authors I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot of authors. I don't know how many we've had on Meet the Author section, but it's in several hundred.
Oh, wow.
And very few of them knew they wanted to be writers at an early young age. Were you thinking novelist at a very young age, or were you thinking, I don't know, just essayist or short stories? What was your mindset as a young person?
It's interesting because I think probably, when I was that age, a novel would have seemed out of reach. I wrote a lot of stories, short stories. And when I was in school, I would submit those to different things. And teachers would say, you should really be a writer. And I'd say, okay, like, unfortunately, I didn't have that. I had support from my mother, but she passed when I was 11. Then I moved to my father, who was not supportive of the arts. So he'd be like, it's never going to happen. Like, don't do it. And whether or not you want that to sink into your head, it does. And so for a long time, I kind of shied away from it and then came back to it in my 20s. And I did a lot of nonfiction then.
Wow. Is Juliet Rose your real name?
It is. My name is Juliet. I was named after my grandmother, Juliet Rose. I just don't use my legal last name because those change sometimes for women. So,
well, I asked, the only reason I would even ask that question, and authorjulietrose.com, when I was putting your name into YouTube and promoting the show, there's an AI tool that gets suggested keywords, and it seemed like Juliet Rose is a rose that arborists, I guess, you have to have a special knack for growing these things and all that stuff. So everything was not about you;
right.
it was about a flower.
It is, yeah. Unfortunately, that's what's going to come up first. I have to tell people to type in author Juliet Rose, and then I'll come up mostly.
Right. What about now? Your first book was self-published. Are you still self-published, or are you with a major publishing company?
So I am self-published. I originally had contracts with publishers. One folded during COVID. And so that was actually for Do Over, and that folded. So then I had another contract that I went to Writer Beware. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they really research companies to see if they're legitimate, if they're kind of taking advantage of writers. And the contract just sounded off to me. So I ran it by her, and she was like, yeah, there's some weird clauses in there. I wouldn't accept it. And so I didn't. And then I got a third contract that I did accept. I wish I hadn't. That publisher kind of dropped off the map. But he was still basically getting money. Like, he was still selling people's books and he was making the money, but he wasn't contacting his authors. And that was for Trigger Point. And so we all had to band together and get the Authors Guild involved to break our contracts for breach of contract. So after that,
go ahead.
So after that, I did decide just to go indie, and that's how I've gone with all my books.
Well, there used to be a stigma about being self-published, and now that has very much changed. I mean, almost the majority of authors are self-published, but I think it's even better to be self-published. It's like the stigma should be now for people who go with Random House, or any of these other companies who are just there to really use you, take advantage of you, and get rich off of you, and you're still gonna not see any of the profit from any of it. So I think it's probably better to be self-published now. Do you agree?
I agree. I think there's still a draw for a lot of people to traditional publishing simply because they think that it's going to, like, they're just going to give their manuscript over and then sit back and all the work's going to be done. It's just not the case. I talk to a lot of authors, and everybody, no matter how they've been published, are doing the work. And so that was my logic, is at this point, if I'm going to be doing all the work, I should be making all the profit.
Yeah.
and keep my creative control. So that is what I decided to do. And I don't fault anybody for doing whatever they're comfortable with, but at this point I was comfortable with doing it on my own.
Yeah, it's a prestige thing. Like, yeah, I'm a Random or Doubleday or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, if you're still struggling just like everybody else is, because there's so much competition. There's so many books being written every day and being published every day. Competition is like podcasting almost.
Yeah.
CD, I cut you off. Go ahead.
If you don't mind me asking, Joe, it says that you lost your daughter at age 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since you write fiction, have you created a fictionalized version of your daughter older in any of your books?
I haven't, and it's interesting because it's something that I always play around with. Like, my mind's always like, should I take that experience and put her into a book? And I guess I just always have shied away from it just because, well, people can be pretty critical. And so, like, I don't want to put something that personal to me and then have somebody criticize the character, because then I would want to, go get them.
Yeah.
Show up at their house. So I haven't, but I definitely have taken elements of my experiences and put it into
That's a great point.
Yeah. It's a absolutely difficult thing to
Very
share, even just talking about it. But you seem very well adjusted into talking about it. I have lost a son, not as a small child, but I still have difficulty talking about it. You seem very comfortable in handling that question. The processing of it, you got any advice on how to process that and get through it? Is it just time? Is it?
When my daughter died, I spent like a year just in like that heavy grief, like didn't really function. I still had other children, so I took care of them, but I really didn't go out in public. I really wasn't dealing with people or that type of stuff. And then after that first year, I kind of came to this realization that I had a long life I had to live. So I had to deal with it. Like I had to, people always ask you, how many children do you have? What are your children's names? Whatever. So it's a conversation that comes up. So what I did was I just learned scripts for myself. So yes, I can answer this because I've kind of memorized those scripts of dealing with losing my daughter so that I can talk about it in public, because it's really important for us to share when we've lost a child, because people do lose children. And I feel like it is somewhat stigmatized. People don't really want to know that. Like they'll give you the quick pity or the whatever, but they want to move on very quickly from that conversation.
There is no term for a parent who loses a child. Like a parent, children who lose parents are orphans. Then there's the widows and widowers, but it's unnatural. It's not meant to be.
Yeah, it's not. And this didn't come easy to me. And I still have obviously my breakdowns and stuff like that. But I think it's really important to continue to share about my daughter and about what I went through. And then I use in my stories, there's always someone that usually dies in the story. It's just kind of one of my like go-to things. And so and sometimes you want them to die. Sometimes they're not the good person. Sometimes though they are. And I really wanted to address grief. So a lot of times through my fiction stories, I'll kind of address grief, because I feel like it's still something that people expect you to like grieve for this period of time and then move on. And, anybody that's lost a child or a spouse or somebody really close to them knows it's not how it works. It comes back up year after year. So.
We'll get off the morbid
like
stuff.
I wanted to lose a spouse, but unfortunately, we just wound up divorcing. But I did try to lose her. I booked her, or
we're going to take a drive across the country, and you can just get out there. I get it.
I used to book her on Southwest Airlines flights all the time, just thinking. But
no, it's Alaska.
But now we'll get off the morbid stuff in just a second. But because I'm curious about this today for a number of reasons. My Facebook memories can be haunting. Do you hold on to dates and things like that, like anniversaries of stuff? Because I think when we experience any kind of tragedy in our life, there is a tendency to do that. And my Facebook memory, tomorrow is the anniversary of the last time I saw my son alive. And my Facebook memories today reflect a little bit of that, because I was talking about that a year later. And I saw that conversation this morning. And other people were talking about, I lost my best friend on New Year's Eve. Now, New Year's Eve is like a terrible date for me. I can't appreciate, I can't celebrate it anymore. I've withdrawn from being social on that day. Do you hold on when tragedy happens? Do you hold on to dates?
I think so. I think that they change, though. I think initially they are really painful. Like when you're first going through that loss, those first few years where it's like the anniversary of their death, it just as a reminder, and you go through those memories and you just go through the pain. But eventually, like, you find a place of like peace within those days. And so like for me, when like my daughter's birthday comes up or the date she died, I tend to just go inward and maybe do something nice for myself those days and find something positive. Sometimes I'll donate things or volunteer somewhere. So I think it just depends on time matters. Initially I wasn't doing anything, but over time I was able to take those days and make them something more special.
Christina says she doesn't talk about it because I hate crying in front of people. I do too, and sometimes it can be cleansing. I don't know, just the fact that I don't think you can just shut down and not talk about it. Sometimes you have to experience that pain. And if people are around to witness you experiencing that pain, I don't know, somehow it's even more profound. I don't know. I don't know
I know when my brother passed, first of all, I have a somewhat warped way of looking at the world. I grew up with so much death that it's just part of life. I literally, when my mother died, within moments, I was like, making jokes, which is probably the way my mother would have wanted anyway. And same with my brother. And my wife knows how I am. So when my brother passed and I'm on the phone, people are calling me to offer me their condolences. And my wife is looking at me every time the phone rings. She looks at me and goes, "Don't make any jokes. Don't make any jokes." And I said, "I know how to talk to people." She goes, "Just don't make any jokes. You're always making jokes. Don't make any jokes."
Yeah.
I know.
Humor is another coping strategy. It's okay.
Go ahead, Willie. You will say, Will.
This this last Saturday. Yeah, I had my birthday, and this was because my dad died on my birthday in 2020, and this was the first birthday I had where I got only birthday wishes and nobody mentioned dad dying that day, so that was good.
Wow.
We lost. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Well,
In and out.
sorry about that. That's a really uncomfortable association. Your birthday, your father's death day. That's got to be a tough thing. Anyway,
Some people will do anything just because they don't want to give a card.
Super fucking bad.
Yeah. Some people will do anything not to buy a birthday card.
Last thing about
Yeah,
this guy, and it's a little bit humorous, and then we're going to change gears completely. The other day, my brother was saying that he was happy that I have my wife. When my time comes that I'm just ready for hospice or whatever, you got somebody there who's caring about and my thing was she's looking forward to it because she would use that to be like, all over social media, like, and get all this like Munchausen by proxy or whatever, that he's suffering and I feel so terrible about it, and then she gets all positive attention and reinforcement.
And if you weren't suffering enough, she would poke you with a needle.
Exactly. Like, she's looking forward to every day. She wakes up like, "How are you?" And I say, "I'm okay."
But somebody keeps pinching Matt with a piece of pliers.
Yeah. All right. Coming to the book, Through the Surface. This is interesting to me because I'm going to read a little bit of the synopsis here. Drawn together by dark tragedy and demonic forces and destined to fight against each other. Demonic forces. Do you have actual experience with that, or is that something you had to research?
It's not something, I definitely have not had experience with demonic forces, but I think we all have had kind of those weird experiences where we're like, that's not normal. And so, when I was a teenager, I spent some time on an island off the coast of Maine, and I was by myself a lot. And so got spooked pretty often, just being on this at this lodge and so on. Thought I saw things, so I think just taking kind of those fears and putting them into a book was pretty natural.
So if you were writing a book about demonic possession, which of the three hosts on this show do you think would be possessed by a demon? I'm just saying, as a writer, which one would you suspect?
She doesn't know us enough.
No.
Yet.
I'll say it's Willie. He's just got some vibe.
Right, that's the right answer. That is the right answer.
I don't know about that. Willie has
good.
Willie has this thing where God saved him from Satan, so maybe not. So, but
exactly.
Anyway.
That's exactly what a demon would say.
That's probably true.
Many times.
I'm sorry to interrupt this for one.